Welcome back everyone, Slothcakes here with some new Gundam Requiem of Vengeance news. Bandai has announced and shown high grades of both Suari Zaku 2 and the new Gundam known so far as the RX-78EX. So let's go over them with now a full front and back render. Let's see if any of my or your speculations were correct, and see if we noticed something we couldn't in the trailer. Then I'll give my overall thoughts, so let's get into it. Starting off with Suari Zaku, the immediate thing that jumps out is, wow, this thing's got a lot of surface detail. It reminds me of that of the Infinity series with things like Mazinger and Great Mazinger, where there's just so much going on and every surface is busy with something, with plenty of panel lining everywhere. Next key thing is the shoulder shield. If you look at the inner side, it has a handle so the Zaku can hold it out as a shield. But not only that, in the end we see spike blades allowing for a makeshift melee weapon. But more importantly and more eye-catching, we get a clear view of what looks like 3 barrels at the end. So it's a shield, melee, and range weapon all in one, which looks really cool. Looking at the barrels, at the top we see ejector ports, so the ammo must be stored inside. And from the size of the barrels, this just looks like 3 machine guns, which an extra weapon is always appreciated. Overall, it's a cool looking addition. Moving to the head, they do seem smaller than normal depictions. It just seems like they got flattened a little bit, like someone came with a hammer and just bonked it. It reminds me of the Zaku FZ Fritz helmet in a way. But the more eye-catching thing is the weird commander fin. Located on each side of the head are these weird protrusions, with the right one having a grey color looking more rugged and internal. And what these are supposed to resemble is that of wolf ears, because the squad's named the Red Wolves, hence the color. Now, I just gotta say, this does look a little goofy, and I mean that like goofy in a fun way, it's a little odd. But I feel like whoever designed this specifically tried really hard to make it not look like cat ears, which kudos on them for not throwing that on the Zaku. Besides that, there isn't anything else that I believe is like a major reveal. We do get to see the Zaku machine gun and the Heat Hawk, which do look nice, they're just a bit more detailed than normal, and the Heat Hawk does look a little bit bigger. I do like the shoulder armor and how everyone in the squad is just slightly different from each other, and there's a bit of detail here and there that I appreciate, like under the left shoulder or at the end of the skirt armor. I'm really liking the colors, especially around the feet and the skirt. The separation is great choice, and here the grey spots just look pleasing to the eyes. Up next we have the Gundam, and for a correction for my trailer analysis, we actually do have the model number. It's actually located on the chest of the damn thing, and I embarrassingly just didn't catch that. In my defense, the image is kinda blurry if you try to zoom in. Anyways, it's shown to say 78EX, so it's an RX-78 line, with EX, which definitely stands for experimental. The X in the RX also stands for experimental. So it's the Remper Experimental Model Line 78 Experimental. A little redundant, but anywho. Looking at this guy, it's really busy. Plenty of small parts, little bits of armor, and a good amount of surface detail everywhere, especially on the back. We see a much more thin mobile suit here, with a lot of its inner frame exposed, which could mean it's some form of light armor, giving up armor for speed. And if so, maybe in a way it's like a light armored ground type Gundam, which is a cool idea. People have compared this to a fusion of the GP01 and EZ8, but overall body shape does remind me of the Atlas Gundam. He's just round in certain areas, has many small pieces scattered about, it just gives me that Thunderbolt vibe. Also, as a small tidbit, while it could be story reasons, with its small pieces, thin body, and white color, it does remind me of a giant skeleton. Pretty spooky, but could play a role in the Gundam story being a Reaper or a monster on the battlefield. Now, onto specifics, we get a clear view of the beam rifle, and yeah, like I said in the prior trailer, this looks a lot like the gun cannon's beam rifle, and probably is. I wonder if they'll give us a reason on why it's this, instead of like the ground type beam rifle or just another prototype beam rifle. As for the shield, we don't get any new info from this, it's everything we said in the beginning. Despite its size, it does lack a lot of armor up top, which could just mean it was made to be lighter than normal but still be like the long tower shields that can cover most of the body. Looking at the shoulder back weapon, we have the Gatling gun, which just looks much better in this view. Previously, we only saw like the top of it, which just made it look really small and dinky, but now that we have like a much more clear view, it looks much better and I love it. It's a nice size with a belt feed leading to the container located at the back of the head. It's a solid look and it's one of my favorite things about this guy. What can I say, I'm just a sucker for Gatling guns. Next on its left shoulder is its 3 beam sabers. It's mounted onto a unit that looks like it has some range of motion, being able to move up as a whole. Then it looks like that each beam saber can move forward and back, allowing it to be drawn by the mobile suit. Overall, it's cool, and I'm still a little confused on why 3 beam sabers. One speculation is that it has some form of gym striker-like weapon that requires multiple beam sabers, but it looks like it has nothing on it that would use that. Another much smaller speculation that was thrown about, so I'll mention it, is that the 3rd beam saber is for its mouth. It could also just be that it has 3 for no reason. Things like the Aqua Gym carry 4 beam sabers when it can only use 2 at a time. It could also just be that this looks cool and it goes hard, which is fair enough. But nothing on him looks like he has anything that makes use of it so far. Now, as a cool tidbit, on his shoulders they have these weird mounts, and they actually have a use. If we look at the draft design of him, we see the Gatling gun and ammo container can be moved, with the ammo being mounted on the shoulder and the Gatling gun below. I really like this concept, and maybe he has swappable weapons he can mount. As a side note that I want to throw in because, well, I thought it was a cool idea, maybe this leads to a full armored version, with proper armor, a weapon on each shoulder and back, and something that involves his 3 beam sabers. As a final thing, this was overshadowed by the high grades, but he is getting a Gundam Universe figure. We're given a few dynamic poses, but nothing we can draw information from that we didn't get from the high grades, and these figures come with less optional parts and detail just because the Gundam Universe line is made to be cheaper, but with the less detail it does look more like a skeleton, which is kinda cool. So overall, the 2 designs are interesting. It's important to know that these are CG renders, so the final model kit could have some changes. Also, sometimes a model kit might be a tad off from the source due to whatever model kit reason. While they could look better in motion, and maybe the designs will grow on me, the biggest gripe I have is the surface detail. There's just like a lot going on. Both of them look like they will take forever to panel line, might as well just throw it in the paint bucket. And I do like the detail, but maybe this is just a little bit too much. Despite this, I do like the Zaku. The ears are a little goofy, but the unique shoulders look great. The colors are amazing, and the small details here and there are nice. As for the Gundam, I sorta dig the thin white look with the separate armor parts. It makes it look like a skeleton, and I do like the idea of being an extra light armor mobile suit. My biggest complaint is I'm not too much a fan of the head. I really don't know why though. Maybe due to its head looks like it's wearing like a really small, like old style football helmet. It looks like a really thinner, rounder version of the Easy 8's head. Also, like I said, I'm on the fence on the surface detail. It looks scattered about with small pieces everywhere, but that complements the look in a way with a very exposed inner frame. So maybe when I see the final product in motion or get my hands on the kit, I'll start to warm up to it a bit. Anywho, if you're still here, thank you for listening. I just wanted to give you my 2 cents and ramble for a few minutes because, well, why not? But leave your thoughts below, and if you're looking forward to the kit, make sure to clear your backlog beforehand because, well, that shit starts piling up. But like usual, Slothcakes here, have a good one and hope to see you next time.